Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum and salam sejahtera. A very good morning to everyone. Welcome to all deans, deputy deans, all lecturers, staff, and also students to our workshop today. Thank you for joining us. And today we will have a workshop on playful design thinking towards sustainability and innovation. So first of all, please allow me to share with us the objective of our workshop today, which is the first objective is to discuss on the playful design thinking concept, and also on how to apply the playful design thinking methods to drive towards innovation and sustainability. So please allow me to introduce our first speaker, Associate Professor Dr. Fitri Suraya from Faculty of Cognitive Science and Human Development. And our second speaker will be Associate Professor Dr. Jacey Lynn Minoi from Faculty of Computer Science and Information Technology. And both of our speakers today are part of the Creative Culture team. And last week, both of the speakers also have shared with us in our previous workshop organized by USC, which is a workshop on nudging SDGs in research, in module 3 on how to integrate SDGs in research, whereby Dr. Fitri and Dr. Jacey has shared on the ideation by using tools which is Mural, a digital first visual collaboration platform, in order for us to share and also collaborate with other people on how to use the Mural. So today we are very fortunate to have both of the speakers again, and the topic that we'll be sharing by the both speakers is on the playful design thinking and how can we integrate these design thinking methods towards sustainability and also innovation. So without further ado, I would like to welcome Dr. Fitri and also Dr. Jacey. The floor is yours. Thank you.
Right. Assalamualaikum warahmatullah and a very good morning. Thank you, Dr. Shafiq.
Waalaikumsalam. Welcome.
And we are very happy to have all of you here this morning. I think, JC, we'll probably just go straight to the slides, yeah? Okay. Sekejap, let me share screen. How are you all today?
Very good. Thank you.
All right. Okay, so this is going to be a 3-hour thing. I hope you have your coffee with you, at least, or a cup of tea or something. We're going to take small breaks in between. I know it's not healthy to just sit for a long time, kan? Jadi, yeah, so today we've been assigned to talk about playful design thinking. And the purpose for doing this is essentially to help you drive the way that you write your proposals, and also maybe the research projects that you already have, to make it towards sustainability goals, and also perhaps to inspire you to create innovation through the projects that you're doing. Jadi we are mainly going to be talking about the process yang untuk mencapai kepada purpose tu tadi, which is the two purpose. One is sustainability and the other one is on innovation. So JC and I are going to interlace what we're talking about. Tapi before we start, can I ask how many of you actually know about design thinking? Can we have a show of hands? You can put a thumbs up. Pernah dengar? Siapa yang pernah dengar pasal design thinking?
Saya pernah dengar, doktor, tapi tak tahu
Okay.
how it goes.
Tak pernah buat lah, tak pernah buat.
Okay.
Sama doktor, saya pun.
Ada yang pernah buat tak? Ada
Tak
yang
pernah doktor, tak pernah.
Betty is here. Betty, you've done it before kan, Betty?
I teach it for my classes.
There you go. So I have an expert in the room. Thank you. Chip in, Betty, if you feel that there are things that I'm missing, yeah?
No, you're the expert. I'll be listening.
Tak ada lah, mana dah expert. Kita share je. Apa nama? We use this a lot. We use design thinking a lot. So just for apa nama, introduction purposes, design thinking is a tool, is an approach that has been used and made famous by Google actually. Jadi it's a way for them to apa nama, to come up with innovation, yeah, in the work that they do. So design thinking ni banyak digunakan dalam industri. Jadi there's a lot of things that's already been written about it. People swear by it because the thing about design thinking ialah it's sort of like a focused brainstorming, yang mana you have all the players who would be able to make decisions on the process in order to make something happen. Yeah, so dalam design thinking ni kita bring together the important people dalam, you know, a company or an agency, and then if katakanlah we want to come up with anything that apa is seen to be needed by the agency, kita bawa semua orang yang akan bertanggungjawab dalam di decision making. Jadi kalau bos ada, bawa bos sekali, so he will understand that from the ground up kenapa decision tu dibuat sedemikian, ya. So that's the reason why design thinking took off very quickly in the apa nama dalam companies, Jadi dekat US there's a lot of packages if you want to go through them. This is made famous as well apa nama by Stanford University. Stanford actually has apa nama a course, an online course that you can take. You can certify yourselves. Kalau you all ada masa, you have the peluang to do it, you can do it as well. Jadi a certified design thinking punya facilitator. There's also books written on it. Jadi there's many things that you can learn. Tapi dia 4 construct ni ialah yang paling utama lah, ya. So the first one is on empathy, meaning that we try to understand what is it that the target users or the target clients would need, and then from there then you look at the gaps. Kalau kita buat research, kita tengok research gaps kan. Jadi what are the gaps, what are the problems, what are the issues that's being faced, and then from those definitions and identification process kita ideate solution. Jadi those of you who joined us last week, we did a little bit of that ideation process, yeah, a little bit of the ideation process, because apa nama, I just wanted to give you a taste of how to ideate, you know, in a group. And then today we're going to do a little bit something a little bit more extensive, and then hopefully by the end of today you will have some structure of a proposal that you can use with your colleagues, yeah. And then the last bit apa nama in the design thinking apa nama process is trial and testing. This also apa nama is an opportunity to create prototypes, yeah, so you can have options of things. Jadi macam if we do our research, yeah, we also have prototyping. You know, sometimes we don't use the label, but what we do prototype, meaning that we do try things. We look at the feasibility of things, and we have our own constructs as to how we measure. So dalam design thinking, this is already purposed, you know, in the process itself. Jadi that's the reason why for people who make decisions, they would like to see, yeah, macam mana the testing is carried out and how effective or how good it is, you know, as per how it is suggested by the team yang buat brainstorming tadi. Jadi that's why design thinking adalah satu approach yang quite cepat digunakan, ya. You can make a decision dalam masa yang cepat, and and then you can get results, yeah, at the end of the time. Jadi normally a design thinking workshop would take 5 days. So that's actually the process that you have to follow, 5 hari sebenarnya. And then semasa 5 hari ni everyone who are supposed to, make decisions and to run the show, they have to be in that same group, that same team throughout the 5 days, in order to come up with a good solution at the end of the week. Jadi tapi untuk hari ini, we're just going to give you a tasting of how it works. We are exploring mural again. So those of you who are not familiar with mural, you're going to have to register and then to create an account. Tapi that will be the second part of the workshop lah. So I think I'm going to pass to Dr. Jacey now to talk about the next bits. Jacey?
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, so we know now what design is. A lot of people would think about design, maybe product design, or the hard truth is we are all thinkers lah in somewhere. Back at home, you would think about, how are you going to solve certain problems? How are you going to repurpose certain things? You look at plastic bottles, what are you going to do with it? So there is, these are the hard truth. I mean, these are things that we cannot deny. So we can't say that we are not thinkers, neither do we design. We have been designing a lot. Okay, so now is the start of the semester. I'm sure you don't repurpose your all subjects or your all lectures. You would always upgrade, you would always improve for the students because our students are always different. So this is a nice sort of a step. Perhaps, okay, so well done to those. Okay, the kudos is like well done. So we've been thinking too much, but let's not stop at the thinking, because thinking can stop to thinking without any action. Okay, so the next slide. So just a quick recap. Thanks to Fitri for giving a very nice introduction of design thinking. I think it is indeed a powerful tool. And then also the beauty of this design thinking, if you would have noticed, like our team, I'm from computer science, Fitri is from in the education field. So how can we actually work together, and how could we come up with solutions, little solutions, is because of the design thinking approach that we take. I know there are some of my colleagues as well from computer science. So design thinking is not new approach in methodology, like we always tell the students on how to do it. It's actually agile methodology in some way, and it really focuses on human. Therefore, it is a human-centered approach that leads to innovation. So in computer science, we use a lot of agile approach. It's the fastest approach to get needs analysis, to get user requirements, and to get it tested. And the thing with design thinking, when we talk about testing, is that once it's completed, and then you test, and then you stop. But with this approach, this design thinking approach, you don't want to spend that money, effort, resources to build things, and only later, 3 months, 4 months down the line, to realize that it's not going to work. So this is where the prototyping comes in, and then your testing is done to real end user. For example, our attendance system lah. If they were to do a design thinking of our attendance system, there will be a lot of us who would have given a human-centered results of feedback that would actually improve and perhaps innovate further the attendance systems that we have. Okay, so maybe they should be doing this. Okay, never mind. Then what we do is everyone is also a designer. Not only are we thinkers, but we also adapt tools and techniques. Yeah, so with tools and techniques, don't worry about, I have to use technology. I don't even know how to use mural or pop. You can keep it simple. Even with a piece of paper, you can draw. Like for us, computer science, when we say we want to develop a mobile system, we draw. You draw the interface onto an A4 paper, and then you flip which one they click, you flip to the right action, and then you see how they interact. So that's roughly the idea of design thinking by Tim Brown. I didn't know he was the main person.
Yeah, I think I want to add a little bit about how we do it in our research projects. The idea of putting together people from different disciplines. The design thinking process helps us visualize what people are thinking, and we are able to make decisions based on the interactions. So don't be afraid about the the use of the word design. Design ni bukan saja eksklusif kepada people from Fakar ya. I know there's a few people here from Fakar. Actually kita semua boleh pakai design. Jadi design ni maksudnya macam mana kita nak shape ya. How do we shape the way that we come up with some kind of a solution ataupun intervention. How do we make a decision about how it's going to look like, how is it going to be implemented, all those things. Jadi I think some of you who are in management ataupun administration, you guys are aware kadang-kadang bila you want to propose a new idea and then you find that the idea just sits in the back burner because nobody makes a decision about the idea, and it just it becomes stale over time. So design thinking pushes that that process of making that decision. Jadi it allows for all of the people who are involved in that certain scope of whatever task or work that you need to do, to be able to come down and sit together and then brainstorm, ideate, and think of the solution together. Jadi that's how we've been running our workshops, bukan our workshops, our research projects. And that's also the reason why we've been able to create quite a lot of things at the lab. So kalau ada masa you guys want to come over, our gamification lab is on the lower ground floor of FCSIT. Come over, take a look. We have created actually quite a number of games untuk learning. And all these things are not done overnight, obviously. Yeah, there was a lot of thinking that's done, and how we did it is actually through playful design thinking. So this is what we are sharing with you today lah. Yeah. So I'll move on, Jacey. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is some of the tools in terms of main approach. I think we would the main tools used would be empathy. Empathy, I think we had this discussion earlier, like the issues of empathy, wearing different hats, and try to understand one person. And it's not an easy task to do. Like I won't understand Dr. Rafeah, for example. Like until you know the person, you get to have coffee, have makan together, psychoanalyze the person in your head, then perhaps you would understand the person. So it takes time to actually understand. So when we work with the teachers and when we ask teachers, what is your student's journey? They all look at us and go like, oh, students semua masalah lah. Semua malas, semua bodoh. But that is not empathy. That is your perceptions. So really trying to understand what is it. During the pandemic, I think Fitri hit a good point, when we were also ranting about our student. And then she said, not every student has a table at home. Not every student has proper lighting at home, quiet place for them to learn, to listen. So they may have to take care of their siblings. So if we are aware of this, the empathy comes in. Okay, so that's how we actually do our whole project that leads to ideates. So once we understand the needs of a user or perhaps a group of user, then the ideation comes in. So you have done a bit of ideation last week. Those who have not, it's just putting solution. You have a list of ideas, and then how do you, or designs or solutions, and how do you make it work? Okay, but how do you make it work? It's not necessarily it's going to work. That whole process is iterating. So this process that you're looking is quite an old process that is used in even creating computers, the old computers, to what you have now on the palm of your hands. Yeah, so that whole process. But of course, iPhone uses a different thinking processes. So the main one is that you understand, okay, student user ada masalah longkang block. Idea how you're going to solve that block drainage. Then you iterate, you try the different, you experiment the different solutions and see if it works. Okay, there you go. Hence the word trade and trend, because it depends on if I do not know if we have FEB here, then you have the supply and demand. So it's very much depending on consumers, the need of the consumers. So those were the days, I think 10, 20 years ago, they were using this sort of tools. But does it mean that now it doesn't work? I think the extension comes in. Then you would see how design thinking then leads in or creeps in, okay? So problems are always wicked, always complex, but I think we have a more challenging problems as where we stand now lah. Okay, the next slide, Fitri, please. Thank you. So the trinity of the design thinking, I think computer science can relate to human desirability, the HCI. So the term HCI, human computer interaction, has very much evolved. Before, you see how your keyboards are being created, they will also the iteration, the ideate, the iterate, and how it is being done, so that you can do those of you who can type without looking at your keyboards, then you know like how does it work, because there is already a research that was done. Okay, I'm just going to cut it short. The design of the keyboard is based on the research, based on the design, based on the ideation. Okay, so things has evolved based on what the human desire. Even with Apple, you know, like you zoom in and zoom out. Before was mouse, and then you have your how did you zoom in before? I put click, drag to zoom in. Yeah. So now we have evolved to using our fingers, 2 fingers. So it's human desirable, and now it has moved to UX and UI. User interface is under human desirability, whereas UX is human experience. Okay, so human experience plays a big role. So how does the iteration up? It's not a one process. When we talk about iteration, it's continuous. So you may have you have gone through empathy, you understand the need, you have a list of need, you may pick one need, and then you don't later on, okay, you pick one need, and then you move to ideate, design, and then ideate process together with all your stakeholders or your team, whoever you pick within to solve the problems, to ideate the whole problems. And then the iteration comes in before you build your prototype, or even when you build your prototype, then you realize, because you would do a bit of testing within the team while you are building the prototype, then you realize that is this right? Does it fits to human? You know, sometimes when you do certain things, it will be your perception, but when you test it to your team member, then your team member will go like, ni salah sikit ini, macam tidak betul. So you go back to empathy, or you go back to your design and change it accordingly. So it's an iterative process. It's not a one-way process. Okay, and then it goes next to technology. Now we are living in this technological world. So whether is it feasible? You know, so we talk about. I mean, my faculty people, we always complain lah. Yeah, this student cannot key in attendance, QR, something so easy, but students are using their phone to listen to your lecture, and I have to key in, scan lagi QR code. So is it feasible? So I think in building a lot of things or creating solutions, we need to think about empathy. With technology, sometimes we tend to impose what we feel that is good, but it may not necessarily be suitable. Okay, so empathy, it goes back, it always goes back to really understand the user. Economic viability, this is very much to, kalau research, I think we will just look at the pink and the blue lah. But when you talk about commercialization, you work in industry, they want return. So when you build things, they don't want you to spend 2-3 years like what we do in university, 2-3 years, but we were very thorough. But when you work in industry, they're giving you a sum of money and they want to see within 2 years, how can we get the return in a higher, more. So this is where the design has to come in. So when you do design thinking and then you evolve, you need to involve economists or finance, marketing people to come in. Okay, this is of a higher level, and then you see how they would tell you, oh, this design won't work. This technology is too expensive. You can actually use this. Can you try to use this to cut costs? Because with that, we can increase the return. Okay. So again, this is an old approach, yeah? And this is the approach that everyone has been using. So today, we are going to share with you a different sort of approach, almost similar, but slightly one element, because we talk about the SDG, is the environmental sustainability. We have to still go back to environment. We may not be an environmental scientist, but the world that we're living is an environment, is an ecosystem. You have so many cars. You buy one Beamer, one Mercedes, your Porsche, you drive 3 years, you chuck it away. Then what happens? The car rot. How do you, again, the economic viability, we turn it to the environmental viability. How would it give benefit to the environment? How can we increase oxygen? How can we increase clean water? How can we increase enough food, good food? Yeah, example, organic food, no more, not too much of McDonald's and KFC perhaps. So that is one element that is missing, I think, because of climate change. So now the direction has moved. It's no longer looking at money coming in. This is for companies. I know we are all not working in company, but maybe perhaps when we think about retiring from UNIMAS, you think about, I want to start a company. Then you would think about money. This is very Malaysian. I can speak for Sarawak. Sarawak businessmen are like this. They only think about money. They don't care about the environment as long as they get their return. And then there we have NGOs and us coming in, educating them, but they don't care because there's not much return. For them to repurpose, to recycle, to maintain would cost a lot more. Why? So this is one element that is missing. So the next slide, please. The hard truth. So this is where, is it sustainable, this human-centered approach? So we need to look at changing it to human-centered because humans are different. Dr. Fitri will have different aims, objectives, and wants. Myself have different aims and objectives that I want. So human in general is they would want electric cars that can fly, save money, good for environment, but it's actually what they want. But I think what we need to look at is future-centered approach. Then your perspective, even myself, when I read the slides, Fitri was working on this, I was like, oh yeah, that I think our thinking has to change. So look in the future, look at 3-4 years ahead, look at 5 years ahead, look at 10 years ahead. If the government can think about 10 years project, think ahead, I think we should see even further. So future-centered approach in relation to the environment, yeah? Okay, next. So this is where, again, the process comes in when we need to prototype and test. So previously, people always build, like I love cars. I love old cars, yeah, antique cars. When I look at all these cars, they were built, whether prototype and tested is only within the team. At those days when they build cars, who is going to test it? Of course, when the team tests it, everything is great and brilliant. But when user test it and then some parts are broken, then they would just leave the car, these antique cars, and let it dies. And then those yang kaya, very kaya, I think Fitri and I, when we went to Monaco just for a short trip after a conference, then we saw all the antiques cars, how they were maintained. They're not cheap, but we don't, how many people are like this? People like us, I like old Beetle cars, sudah hancur already in garage. And then you don't have the money to build. So it comes back to whatever we develop, whatever we design, we try to see if we can do the prototype and testing. That's why the design thinking, this process is important. Whether it works or not, get a lot of users to test it. Get all the errors done. So do things with a purpose. Okay, and then your purpose, when we talk about future-centered, it should be the design or the prototype or the solution has to sustain for future generation. That is why they talk about electric cars now. So we see if it can sustain, because at the moment, I don't see how it can sustain, but they're working. So we do not know. We'll see how it goes. I am pro electric cars. Okay, so next.
Jacey, I want to add a little bit there.
Okay,
On the part about the future generations of designing for the future generation, we would like to bring you with us to think about the next research project perhaps that you're thinking about. Think about how it's going to impact people in the next 5, 10 years, or perhaps 20 years. What are we leaving behind after we finish the project? So sometimes these conversations do not happen in our, in the way that we write our proposals. Jadi, we would like to encourage you to think about this, within the people that you're going to be working with, have conversations with the people who are going to receive the interventions that you are planning to have, and see how viable it is first. So that's why the design trinity that was very important. Because you need the human element first. Understand the human, then you look at the tools, and then you look at the economic viability. Because economic viability kita tak boleh nak put aside and say it's not important because I'm not an economist. Not all of us are like Evan Lau. So what can we do? We find out. We find out. Talk to our friends who are in FEB. Just I think last year, Jacey, we basically sat down with Evan and picked his brain about circular economy. So we had a crash course about circular economy, and then right after that we wrote a paper together, and we knew that there was some element that we were not seeing, based on our interaction with our own team. So we reached out and talked to the people who are outside of the scope of the project, because kadang-kadang perspektif macam ni yang membawa kepada the value that you can bring into your project. So I think the next one is here, ethical design thinking. Go ahead, Jacey.
Ethics is a big word as well. I think we all know what ethics is. So we have to realize the power of design. So I think some of you may have heard of, what was it again? Fitri, I always forgot the word.
Greenwashing.
Greenwashing.
Yeah.
To those of you, I mean, this is a new term. That's why I don't remember. So to those of you who are not aware of greenwashing, okay, I'll explain based on what I understand. Like McDonald's. What's the color of McDonald's? It's red and yellow. So McDonald's are always known for not serving healthy food, and it doesn't give back to the environment. So when it doesn't give back, like last time they used a lot of plastic, waste, cups, and then they change. So when they say they move into green, even with using organic, fair trade punya cabbage in it, tomatoes, beef, all these fair trades. So they changed. At one point, they changed their colors to green and yellow. But in actual fact, it's not. It's still the same. Yes, they remove straw, they remove plastic, but the whole process is still it's the original McDonald's. They just change a bit. So this is where we need to realize the power of design, whether is it ethical. Another example that I have in mind is AirAsia. Those of you who have, I'm sure you always use AirAsia, you fly, then you know how to click, 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 you know. Like I don't. I always fly with mask. But when I fly with AirAsia, my mom is the one Asia. She always fly with Asia. So she always helped me buy my ticket. So one time she wasn't around, so I had to do it. Then I realized, why is the interface so different? Like when I do not want seats, my brain would say yes. You know, your yes is proceed next, but the yes means yes, you're getting the seat, you're gonna pay for the seat, you're gonna pay for the meals. So you have to take a while, step back, read properly, make sure you click without thinking, because we're so used to a certain sort of interface where it will tell you directly, do you want extra seats? No. Do you want meals? No. But Asia would say, do you not want seats? Something like that. You know, they play around with the thing. It's not ethical. To me, it's not ethical. I felt like they're trying to deceive me. So again, design is very important. Okay, so know your consequences in all this. Fitri has one good example.
Yeah, the example that was, I think we discussed this with Azani last week. How Nestle, you know how Nestle kan, the product Nestle kan dia banyak macam, you know, they come out with food products semua pakai plastik kan, and the drinks, the bottles, yeah, and these are also most of it would actually end up on the beaches. So those of you who are you know, voluntarily cleaning up beaches, I think you would know the bulk of your sampah is actually from Nestle. So what Nestle has been doing is that they buat CSR programs, yes, for people to come out to the beach and collect waste, and actually the waste is their waste. and this is what we call greenwashing. Jadi untuk nampak macam they are a sustainable company, tapi sebenarnya, you know, this is actually an effect of their own work lah. Jadi in our the way that we do research, yeah, think about how is it possible that we can integrate you know, the solutions, the way the solutions are being constructed, the way that the solutions are going to be used. How do we make sure that it's not going to be impactful, particularly on the environment? Yeah, is there any ways that you can address that in your research process? Jadi we need to understand the responsibility of that design itself. Yeah, jadi if we do it this way, how is it going to, you know, be impactful for that target group? So making that as clear as possible, and that all your team members understand the impact of why you're doing what you want to do, and how is it going to be impactful kepada, you know, your target group of people. Jadi itu yang penting, ya, itu yang penting. Jadi how the way that we shape it, the way that we understand, if we do it this way, this is what's going to happen. Jadi it's more of a forethinking, yeah, forethinking. That's why it's future thinking, yeah, future thinking of bagaimana kita nak buat research yang ada element sustainability. Okay, the next one is that's why we are going towards using design thinking sebagai satu cara untuk melihat how we can contribute towards a future impact. A lot of our research, I think they do not actually particularly look at impact. Not many research grants out there actually spell out impact. Tapi kalau you go towards international grants, these are actually one of the key things that they highlight. Yeah. Jadi if you're looking at macam FRGS tidak melihat impact for long term. So banyak yang kita lihat ialah kepada, you know, 1 year or 2 years or maybe 3 year projects, yeah, depending on the scope of your work. But kalau we don't think about how this, you know, projects that we have is going to be how is it going to look like after 5 years after you finish the project? How is it going to be used by the target committees, for instance? So these are the things yang perlu discuss. Yeah, you have to have these iterations with your team members and also with the committee that you're working with. So whether we are creating new things or are we destroying what is already available there? So we have to look at, again, it's kind of like ideal in some sense. We're not trying to save the world, I don't think. Tapi each and every one of us have our own, I think, strengths in the way that we can contribute. Yeah, so it's a way of shaping how we see the solutions based on what we assess. Yeah, the needs of the people. Jacey, you want to add to here?
Yeah, I can add. So something for you all to think about, because when Fitri mentioned FRGS is very different than international funding. Maybe you look at KPI versus impact. The KPI that you understand. Okay, because when you go to developed country, the KPI is slightly different how we see the numbers. Okay, so look at it. Is there a difference just at the back of your head? And then I just want to add also, when we talk about impact, whether it creates or destroy, we all want to create a good impact, let's say to the community that we work with. Let's say you want to create a very niche new water filter that is using perhaps like a soluble, vitamin C soluble that you just pop into a glass of water. And then any dirty waters, it somehow filters it, and then you get a clean water. That would be brilliant. Okay, so that would be a great sort of create impacts to the future. But there is one, how impact is being destroyed is it can create a Pandora box. Like we always go to community and then we think that we should introduce them to internet. I think Fitri can relate to this. So yes, it is good to open them up to the internet, to use technologies to get them connected. But are we also opening up another Pandora box? Because there are instances that the impact that comes after it is that you're opening up to pawns, you're opening up to games. Games, the educational games is okay. But when it becomes an addiction, that will be a problem. So even basic things like roads, we go to a low level, way, like opening up roads, creating roads to enter villages. Yes, it is good for demand and supply, but it also brings in drugs. Okay, so we as a researcher, whichever proposals that you apply, look at this and then weigh it and look at the ethics of it, which direction you're going to go. If a certain way that you may want to approach, I think you've got to be a bit smart like looking at the future. You may want to, I do not know, I think we tried doing this, we tried to prune and try to adjust, but still humans are very smart, so just be aware of this lah. You do create a bad impact as well.
Yeah.
But sometimes
Yeah, sorry. I want to add a little bit. This is from my own experience working with a school. This is a remote rural school. At that time, there was basically no roads, leading towards the school. You literally have to go on, the 4-wheel drive to get there. And it's on the highlands, so hint. Anyhow, we thought we were clever. Yeah, I was young, I was brash. I thought, bringing computers to the school would, solve the problem, because it's like 21st century education. Yeah, you must have technology. Now, we brought tablets, to the school. And we gave them out. We had workshops with the kids, and we thought that the kids who had never had their own personal computer, would be quite reluctant to use it. But lo and behold, in 7 minutes, the kids were managing the tablet like it's their own. So from there on, I knew that what I was reading was really trash, you know. All the literature that I was reading before that was actually trash, because kids really, you know, when they have the gadget, you give them an opportunity to use it, they would literally run with it. Now, that was well and good with the kids. Now, I wanted to leave the tablets with the school, obviously, because we bought it for them, yeah. So next thing I knew, the guru besar came up to me and said, Fitri, we cannot have this. You know, I'm like, why? You know, I thought, you know, you're being a remote rural school, you want to have all these gadgets, just like the kids in Kuching, you know. You know, again, I was young, I was bold, I was brash, I wasn't thinking through. So, and then she said, no, I don't think so. You know, the kids are going to abuse this. And true enough, within that day, the boys were actually, because all the kids stay at boarding, ya, dekat sekolah. Jadi the boys started to take photos of themselves and of the girls coming out from the toilet. You know, so it's like macam, oh my God, there's nothing at all in my literature that I read about this, you know, so how do I mitigate this? So I had to come up with a solution quite quickly with my research team, obviously. And we made a deal with the group besar, you know, the kids can only use the tablets like during science and mathematics class, you know, at that point, because the teachers were quite open to use it. And I made sure that the teachers actually had materials to use in the classroom for that. So outside of class, yang kita ingat kita nak, you know, buka jalan lah, nak wire everybody in the school kan, actually it doesn't work. So this is what I mean by, you know, kadang-kadang kita punya intention, kita ingat, oh yeah, we want them to be like sama macam, you know, budak-budak kat Finland katakanlah, you know, but no, it doesn't work that way. Jadi again, going back to empathy tadi, trying to understand where your users actually are at, and what are they comfortable with, what are they what skills do they have, and how able are they to mindfully use the interventions that we come up with. Yeah, so these are all, you know, lessons yang we learn, I think, in this whole, you know, process of trying to understand how, you know, how things work with the human, with the tool, and also, you know, how is it going to be staying in that environment sustainably over time. So yeah, Jacey, ada lagi tambah ke? So should I go to the next one?
Yeah, we can. But also the audience can share their experience. Yeah. I mean, this is light and easy, isn't it? Yeah.
We're not trying to teach you anything. We're just sharing what we know. You know, there may be things that some of you know better than us. So please chip in. You can unmute yourself and let us know and share with the rest. Yeah. Yeah. So the third one, Jacey.
The third one, yes. I think I like the word R-E, rethinking, retool for purpose. Well, there's also another thing that we didn't put it in here. Many times we need to unlearn. Fitri has that on her profile. Unlearn, relearn, and learn. I think this process has to be in a recursive mode. Yeah, so many times we think that we know, but situation changes, a group of people change, project change, is evolving. So we need to unlearn, even like when you work with another person. I think these are the things that needs to come in. So with design thinking, there is a lot of rethinking. And we get this a lot in our discussion. We have a lot of mini research discussion with the different team, with our team, because our team are from different field, and everybody are philosophers. So they all want to say something, you know, whether they want to win or not win, but that makes the discussion interesting when we learn to listen. And when we rethink, it's not rethinking of what are they or psychoanalyzing them, but is rethinking how their solutions or their strategies will fit into how we think of a process. Yeah. And retool, yes, things also has to change, because if you think you want to use, I think we did this, isn't it, Fitri? We thought, oh, we want to do programming in Long Lama. Of course, it will not work. We knew it's not gonna work, but everybody's doing it. Paper says it's doable. Which paper will write the don'ts? You know, that's why sometimes I don't believe in good papers, because they're all stating the beauty. So this is where I need to think about the ethics of all the papers. So the don'ts is it doesn't work. So we go back to basic, and basic is paper. That is why in the center we still believe in games that is paper based. We still use dice, we still use items, because you still can teach programming, the concept. Okay, not programming as how my computer scientists or us would think, but I think it's that concept, that thinking, that logic thinking, it will work. Yeah, so we have to retool for a purpose. And also we don't think there is a need perhaps to give them the tools, but in the end of the day, we did give them a tool. We have not gone back because of the pandemic. So it'll be interesting to see how things has worked to the tools that we've given them. We've given them a robot, Spiro. We've given them a tablet, and see how things will work, because the Spiro could be put inside water, it would float, and then you can create a boat, like a boat, and get it to move, you see. So again, will we open another Pandora box? We will only know when we go in. I think it's a lot about experiments, observing, and then we will have to rethink again of the strategies. So another hard truth.
Jacey, I want to call Azani. Azani, you want to talk about what you wrote here? Azani, are you here?
Yeah, I'm here. Which one? What did I write?
This is interesting what you have written.
Yeah, about the wives.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you know how a lot of the impactful work nowadays are involved for gender equality. They target women in the society. So then they do a lot of workshops in teaching financial literacy, where traditionally in the culture, men are involved with and are responsible for management of finances, but women in the communities are empowered to financial literacy. So that's quite a big movement for that. And what we've seen in some, I would say, pilot sites in Sabah, in the islands of Sabah, is that then there are unforeseen impacts which then happen. I won't say it's good or bad. It's just that culturally, these are areas that have lacked a lot of research, and so a lot of literature don't capture these impacts, I would say. So I wouldn't label them as good or bad. It's just they haven't been captured. And the experience for us is that when working with this gender, then they have these kind of side effects. I'm not sure if it happens in Sarawak as well, because possibly the culture for having more wives or polygamy isn't so common, but I'm not a social scientist. So it'd be interesting to actually have the social scientists comment on that, probably more than me. But yeah, so that's what we've seen in the fisher folk communities.
Yeah, so it's definitely for economic viability.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't want to put a label on it, you know, because culturally that is accepted even in their cultures, and their wives are aware that the husbands have other wives on other islands. It's almost like every sailor has a girl at every port.
Yeah.
It's just that I think that in terms of multidisciplinary work, so the work that was happening was for the marine scientists who work with the communities. But it would have been interesting if their team then had other people from, you know, other researchers from other fields as well to have captured that. And I think that's the part that we are lacking in our local universities. There's very little cross-disciplinary work. I think one of it is because the way the KPIs are, it doesn't, you know, if you're not the PI, it makes it that there's no gain in terms of your work to try and do it. But the research is not about KPI. The research is about the impact we want to make with the community. So if the universities are serious, I would say all the IPTAs and IPTS as well, are serious about moving forward with SDG, they need to rethink how they are managing KPIs for the researchers who are like wearing so many hats already at the moment.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And perhaps people in the audience who are at a platform where they can raise this, I think it should be talked about, yeah, in a more serious sort of platform. Yeah, and I think you know, through the work that we've done collectively, we also saw that there's a lot of literature, like what Azani said. There's a lot of literature about things yang, you know, happens overseas that do not actually translate locally, and this is the wealth that we are not tapping into enough yet. Jadi you know, if you're looking at how we can collectively work together, you know, transdisciplinary input, yeah, into research. How do we go about doing it? You need to have to start conversations with colleagues outside of your faculty, outside of your department, yeah, in order to make this happen. Because I think perspectives daripada satu, you know, jurusan saja maybe will not be enough to scale it to the way that we need it to happen. And again, designing for the future generation. It's not for us. It's not for how many citations you know, GUI will have to be, you know, this year. Tak ada, you know, siapa nak tengok citation number tu. Ya, at the end of the day, kita nak tengok berapa banyak you know, people yang actually benefit from you know, your expertise, your knowledge. That's what we want to see, yeah, on the ground. Jadi purposing it for the tool that for the purpose that we are intending for it to do. So new tools, we need to come up with new ways of looking at things, new, you know, localize it, contextualize it in the way that it makes sense to the local people. Yeah. Macam the video that we showed you last week about yang ada Dato' apa, Prof
Madeline.
apa nama dia? Madeline, yeah, Madeline Bima. And what she said was exactly true. Ya, kadang-kadang kita masuk kampung bawa research sampai 40 pages, you know, survey, lepas tu suruh orang isi, you know, stuff like that. And then where does the data go? You know, does it benefit the kampung? Not really. You know, so how do we go about doing this? Perhaps there is a different way to collect data, you know, and I think masa Jacey and I, we went to Long Lamai for the first time. We realized that the best data to get was actually in the kitchen. You know, it's not like masa interview satu-satu. The moment we took out our notebooks, everybody ran because they didn't want us to record what they were saying, you know. But when Jacey and I participated in the making of the meal di dalam kitchen, that was actually where the data all came out. So these are some of the things yang is not written anywhere, guys. You know, in literature. So you know, apa yang ada dibuat oleh orang lain is just a guide. Tapi I think we now can become our own research authority dekat Borneo. Ya, kita kan number 1 dekat Borneo. Jadi why not kita tunjukkan what we can do, yeah. Okay, yeah, new tools, new trade. Jacey, you want to continue?
Yeah, I can just add a bit. I think some of you would see the design would be very much like maybe FACA designs, bio design. I think, you know, we are purchasing a lot of things from China. Dulu was IKEA or European products, wood, but not realizing the wood that we have here was sent to Australia because our wood are better, but we do not appreciate. For example, so like bio design, is it possible to, let's say in terms of FACA, when you work on designing, is it possible to work with different members of the universities, researchers, to look at what we have already and build on top of it? I think we had this conversation as well, right, Azani, with the Indonesians. We were talking about water filters, because our water filters that we know is basic stuff, carbon la, sand la, all these things. But when the Indonesian talks about, they have this waste, hampas padi as waste, and they do not know what to do with it. It's like they're just gonna leave it. So is it possible to use this waste as in one of the water filters, as one part of the element in the water filter? So basically taking waste to make it into a design. So then nothing is wasted. So it leads back to circular economy lah. So one's waste is one's goal, is it? I forgot that phrase now. One's gem. So I think if we can create that sort of flow, we is general lah. It's not us as individual, but I think it's the whole ecosystem that the government has to take hand as well in doing this to make it happen. So all our wood waste, the one that I know, our main economy in Sarawak adalah wood. But there are so much wood waste. I think Zani has seen this. The factory doesn't know what to do with it. For them, it's waste, it's useless. So what do they do with it? There is another company that will come and take it away for like 1 big ton lorry and then only give the company 10 ringgit. So what does that company do with the waste? Throw it back into the river. And that's a reality. Okay, so they throw it back to the river, then it creates more problems. Okay, so how are we going to ensure a sustainable future lah? So we need to build new trade, new trend. The new trade is where the circular economy, so that we come back to the waste that we have will be minimized, like carbon dioxide will be minimized or turn into oxygen, or even I think I talk about this, our baju, you know, like materials that we don't need. Can it come out with something else? Plastic, can it be mixed with materials, baju that people don't wear, and then repurpose it, redesign it perhaps, mix it to create a new set of materials. Yeah, from this. So this is actually the direction. And I think we have a lot of very smart lecturers in UNIMAS. We should move and use the resources that we have. Jangan Mak Saleh datang and then use. And then papers all their side. Kita yang rugi. And we see a lot of this. You know, so we do not know how to leverage on this. So therefore we move into human utility. The rest still remains the same because that's the economy, how things move. Technology, we just can't change because we are moving into, some would say, IR4. Now in Sarawak, IR4. Kalau dah overseas, already IR6. Okay, what is it with this IR? We have gone beyond. But there is one thing with AI that cannot take over is this. They cannot unlearn, they cannot relearn, they cannot learn unless the code tells them to do it. So that we can speak, like we were quite confident. And then even when Facebook and was it Google, I cannot remember, when they came out with learning, trying to profile people, the system actually created a new language that men don't understand. It's not our language, but because whether computer may understand, we do not know, but it's quite a danger. We do not know because it may give a different sort of threshold of values to another system. So therefore, I think it was Facebook, I can't remember, either one of those, they had to shut down the whole system because a new language is being created by the AI system. Okay, so again, we can't deny this. We can't say we're going backwards. We have to move this forward, but human has one strength. Okay, and then that leads to the new design trinity. Human still is important. Okay, so human utility services. How satisfied are you in a certain service? So this one is very different to different human. So this is where I think maybe a lot of us will agree on. We goes back to Maslow lah, the Maslow punya pyramid. So because our need is very different. How are you satisfied? It based on what you have, what is your environment. So I guess there again, empathy comes in. Yeah. Fitri, anything else to add just in case I missed out?
There's an interesting thread here in the chat. Gui shared about how local authorities in Sarawak are wasting a whopping 35% of their income on waste management and nobody cares about where they go. Absolutely true. Rafi'ah, I know you're in waste management kan? punya research. Apa tu? Yeah. I think like macam, you know, simple example of Grab food and Food Panda, you know, their business actually doubled, tripled, quadrupled over the MCO. You know, they made so much money, but at the same time, they are actually, you know, using all this plastic containers that they send to our houses, and you know, the plastic containers are growing. The collection at home is growing, and people don't know what to do with it. And the natural thing is just to dump it in the rubbish bin. You know, why not do a research on this? Find out like how is it that, you know, people can do this sustainably? You know, what are the ways that we can propagate, you know, better habits? Because again, satisfaction ni is linked, yang Jacey mentioned tadi tentang human utility. Satisfaction ni is linked to what you believe, yeah, what you think is of value to you. So if you don't think that apa nama, macam saving the, you know, the environment, you know, make sure you sustainably buang your plastic waste, then you won't do anything about it. You know, if your satisfaction adalah berapa banyak baju saya boleh beli daripada Fashion Valley, for instance, you know, then that is it. You don't care about the boxes that come with your Fashion Valley punya apa nama, purchases. So you know, it's awareness lah. It's awareness and also action. Ya, awareness ni tak cukup, dia kena action sekali. So macam mana kita nak inform the action? Adalah through our research. Yeah, and we can't do this on our own. It has to be done interdisciplinary, you know, punya collective what do you call it? Input.
I think there is an interesting conversation in the chat. We forgot one more word, innovation. You know, all these issues that you all have brought up, there is no one. We tend to rely on who is the next person that can take this service. You know, can we innovate this? Can we work together? I don't know lah. I'm sometimes to have this crazy, you need to have this crazy idea, because it does not need to work all the time. That's where design thinking, when you work together with a team with multidisciplinary members, you can just be crazy. So instead, you can get, I know I have one person that I know, they are material science engineers. They work together with education team, a few more teams. They came out with another different types of plastic. It is plastic, but they embed another thing. And then I think you have heard of this, whereby it can dispose and then jadi baja. So they sell that content to phones. So because phones, all our leftover phones, you keep on changing phone, that's business, isn't it? They don't care about environment. So if you have brilliant idea and then you want to sell it to, iPhone, and then make sure after people who buy their phone decide to throw away their iPhone 12 so that they can get iPhone 13, instead of selling it off secondhand, they would rather chuck it away and let it dispose and grow certain plants. There are seeds somewhere in there. So within 1-2 years later, it will just, you have a tree, maybe a durian tree, you know, things like this. So I think we need to just be crazy in our thinking. Yeah, okay, not crazy as crazy lah. That's where I think when we think about ways, how can we come in? For computer science, I can challenge some of my friends who are attending. How are we gonna do this? Maybe we look at computer waste. We have a lot of computer waste in the university. I remember those of you, next time when you come to the lab, to this gamification center, before we took the space, it was a storeroom filled with computers that you can't use, laptops, PCs, and broken chairs. And they want to lupuskan. And then they want to, I'm not so sure how they lupuskan. And it's a lot, the whole room, more than half of the space in the room is just filled with it. So what can we do with it? Doesn't mean that we're computer scientists, we're not going to do anything about it. We can work. I can work with Rafia, I can work with Azani, anyone in here, maybe we can think about something. Yeah. So I think when we innovate, this is already a problem. Our research will never change. I think when I work with Fitri, we both have our own strength and we learn from one another. And that strengthens the knowledge that we already know, and actually one thing I learned when we do this, design thinking is not necessarily over a myth, over a like, okay, let's do a workshop, let's solve this problem. It's not over that. Sometimes it's over conversation, masa makan. The design thinking process also work. Maybe we don't go into prototyping. Maybe we do go prototyping. Last time we used napkin. You get a pen and then start writing on a napkin. Or maybe now we just use a face mask and start scribbling and prototype. So I think if we have that as a culture in that process, as a culture, I think our conversation will have a lot of, it's just filled with a lot of ideas. Yeah, okay. We can go on, Fitri.
Yeah. Are you able to see the slides? I think my internet is not really stable here. I'm at home actually. Yeah, so purpose, can you see the from process to purpose?
Yeah.
The slide?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So when you are inventing, when you're designing your solutions and interventions, do it with an intent. And the intent hopefully is towards a future ready, goal. Yeah, how is it going to be used in the future after you have left your research project? And I think these are some of the things that it doesn't come in your, I can bet you all of the research methodology books that you've read, nothing talks about what do you do after your research is done. Nothing. So these are some of the things that I think we need to seriously think how to be more responsible about the things that we do in our research. Ya, bukan yang research macam setahun habis macam tu je. 2 tahun habis. Macam when we were involved in the Tapua project with orang asli, Dr. Tan can tell you long stories about how he went in, tried to talk to people, and then finally when they got to build the telecenters in various locations in orang asli settlements, yeah. The project has finished like in 2000 berapa Jacey, 15-16. Lepas tu the people from the kampung are still calling him.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they're still calling Dr. Tan now. So you tak boleh macam nak leave just like that and kata, oh, my project finished and therefore I don't want to have anything to do with you anymore. I think it's a bit irresponsible, kan? So what are the how do you make sure that your connection to the ilmu that you are sharing, with people and the ilmu that you get back through that sharing, how is it going to be used after the project has been completed? So completion of the project is just habis milestone, you habis belanja duit, tapi sebenarnya is more than that. So when you're writing your research proposals, think about the long-term intent for the project. Jadi it's not just untuk yang setahun ataupun 2 tahun. It's actually more than that.
Yeah.
So yeah. You want to add, Jacey? Sorry.
Yeah, because you mentioned think about the long term. Those of us who have applied for FIGS, you will notice, tutup kedai. After you finish, and then you don't think about it because REC pun cepat-cepat tutup kedai. But the international grant that we got, 2017, it finishes in 2018. Yeah, only 2 years. We are still filling in the form. We're still filling in updates until today, 2021. So you imagine, so we still need to link. So whatever we do is we have to start thinking about the future for our current project. What happens after 5 years? Because that is actually the impact. So whatever innovations that we have, we need to think again, what if there is a mistake? What if there is an error? So think ahead lah. So yes, a nightmare actually. Yeah, so today's design thinkers, we build a collective tomorrow. I think one thing again with the design thinking process, you don't work alone. You don't work with friends or researchers in the same field only. You have to work together with multidisciplinary, transdisciplinary, talk to different people. Then you would understand their thinking, their needs, their problems, solutions even they have done. You might be thinking about certain sort of like problems and how to solve it. Then when you speak to someone else, it is a solutions already that has been created. So sometimes those can be a blessing. And then they may find a certain sort of problems which you yourself has a solution. Then you work your way. And innovation does not need to be big. Innovation for me, I would take it as a mix and match of different solutions. The simplest lah, mix and match, like creativity, a mix and match of different creation that leads to creativity, perhaps. Thanks to someone who said that quote, I think it was Azani or somebody. Yeah, so build a collective tomorrow. I think if we can move, the university can move into working together. We're no longer individual. That is yesterday punya research. Yeah, the today punya research is really all together. Sarawak, Malaysia is the best research playground, honestly. Yeah.
And I want to highlight a little bit about the term create and creativity. They're not mutually meaning the same things. Yeah, when you create, it doesn't mean that what you're creating is creative. So, and then creative doesn't also mean that you're creating something. So how do we want to become creative? You need to read a lot, and you need to have conversations. Macam Rafi'ah was asking, why the iteration tu penting sebab bila when we don't talk about what we don't know what we don't know. Yeah, jadi through the conversations, then you probably be able to connect the dots and hopefully come up with values that you're not thinking about. And this is what innovation is. Yeah, innovation doesn't come like, oh, mimpi tengah malam, that kind of thing, or you sitting on your throne in a toilet, tak. It's something that is cooked up because you see the value. Yeah, macam mana value to come about. So for that to happen, interactions has got to happen. Yeah, you need to start talking to many people. Sometimes these ideas come and go. Sometimes it doesn't feel like it worked while you were talking about it, tapi kadang-kadang like 2 months later you go like, oh yeah, I remember this, and probably this is something that can be used. So if we are not opening our doors to find out what other people are thinking about, then perhaps kita punya innovation tu tidak begitu ni lah rich.
So
yeah, silakan.
So this is our next part of the activity. So it will be, we'll have some hands-on lah. We will look at log jams. I'm sure you have heard of the log jams. Have you heard of the current log jams in Sarawak? I think I cannot remember now the whole story. I think it was up north of Baram, is it? Azani could remind me. Rejang also had that log jam. I remember that morning my friend was in Kapit. He's a director of the hospital, and he took a video of the log jam, and he goes like, headache. So it's very difficult for the hospital because, especially in Kapit, because their main route for them to travel is actually the river, and there was a massive log jam. Okay, and then the log jam has caused a lot of problem. I think this was in August. Yeah, in August when it happens. And then oh, thank you so much. Yes, there is a newspaper, so those of you can read about it. And then in Balai River, yes. So a lot of agencies, interesting, because of the log jam, a lot of agencies are saying it's not my fault, it's not my fault. So they start pointing fingers at everybody. So literally, everybody is at fault, but they're all claiming, cepat-cepat masuk newspaper, I'm not at fault. But remember, the waste also, could that be? So kawasan api I'm not very familiar with politics. I've just read it, but I think this has caused a lot of problems. So this will lead to our next activity. Okay, so using log jams, punya issues, how we're gonna solve problems in the communities around. Yep.
Dr. Jacey, you need breakout rooms?
Yes, we'll eventually need breakout rooms for for people to discuss it. Maybe can we have maybe a 10-minute break so that people can find out what log jams are and then get to
read
know
about it.
yeah, and read about it a little bit and then probably discuss it. We have scenarios in mural. So I'm gonna share with you my links kejap ya. Do you have the mural punya link tak, JC?
Let me, I share, wait, copy link. So we're gonna put it in the chat. See if it works.
Yeah.
Yeah, so at least you can try to go in. To those yang belum register or not familiar mural, can have a look at it. We'll just open it, but later on, we'll go through first before we go into breakout rooms.
Yeah.
We go through together first, yeah.
Because we have scenarios in there. If you're not familiar with mural, you have to sign up. Just create an account. I would suggest that you use your UNIMAS account. Yeah, silakan. We'll wait for you in mural.
Yeah. Perhaps take a break first, 10 minutes.
Yeah. Boleh, Syafiq?
Boleh. Okay, so to all the participants, we will take a 10 minutes break and we will come back again at 10:31. Okay. All right. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, everyone, welcome back to our session. Maybe we can continue with our session, doing the activity on the mural. Over to you, Dr. Fitri and Dr. Jacey.
Thank you, Dr. Shafiq. I think we are only seeing about 10 people right now in mural. Can you go into mural and then sign up? We'll wait for you. Those of you who are already in mural, you can read about the template itself. You might want to use it later for your own research purposes. We find this very useful in terms of bringing people together and to discuss the same ideas all at the same time. So this is our pandemic solution lah, if you will. Selalunya dekat gamification center, kami akan duduk sama-sama and we will use the boards that we have, in the lab. Tapi because we can't meet, we can't, work together. So what we do is we do this online. Jadi that's why we're sharing our strategy with you. Hopefully you'll find it useful. So there's some explanation about what this decision sprint is. Decision sprint is an outcome from design thinking. Jadi when we are talking about decision sprint, we're looking at how people look at the same sort of input and give feedback on the same canvas, on the same canvas. Jadi you can keep this, you can come back to it. This is the beauty of it lah. Jadi your post-it notes tidak hilang lah basically. So it heavily uses post-it notes. And kalau those of you who have done PGDIP with me, you know how much I love post-it notes to get you guys to think of ideas. And for this one, it's easy to bring together the post-it notes in an online sort of version. Jacey, maybe we can start.
Yeah, we can. I've shared on my screen, then Fitri can manage the mural. So as Fitri mentioned, this is the design sprint. So those of you who can't go in, so at least you can see from Zoom where we are. So we kept things as it is, but of course we have added the SDG because that's the aim of it, a collective thinking and solutions. Okay, so have a read. I think there is a link as well to the video to those of you who doesn't remember what SDG is. But what we want to do now is that if you move down to this HMW and ideas, if you look at this yellow box, I'm gonna zoom in. So this is where the activity comes in. Okay, so before you look at your kampong, the log jam, what is the log jam? So there is a headline that says the government has to prop the log jam after the pollutions, and then it shut down the water treatment plants lah. So by shutting down the water treatment plants means no clean water supply to many parts of the division. So this would last for 2 weeks. So later on, you will be in different breakout rooms. I think only 3. So I think one, I'm not so sure. Kalau Zoom kata ABC, then you will just go straight to just move your mural to your specific kampong lah. Okay, so different kampong would have different cases. Okay, so have a look at the case later on once you're in the different breakout rooms. I know you're gonna cheat and have a look at the rest. You can't pick which one, but I think it would be nice to, let's say we pick one, Kampong A lah. So that kampong is also affected by the logjam, but they have different problems due to the logjam. So different kampong, different sort of issues. So all of you also comes from different niche. You don't need to always think about, I'm gonna be like Cindy, I'm gonna turn into an environmentalist. No need. If you're a computer scientist and then you put yourself in here, how are you also gonna solve the problem? Okay, so here there is this part that says how might we. So that's the question. How might we solve this? How might we do this to solve these issues or solve these problems, or how can we go about to dealing with this? Okay, within your expertise. Anything else you add, Fitri?
Yeah, perhaps when you go into your groups, what you can start doing is probably to do the empathy process first. Yeah, that means you read a little bit. Maybe we can use the article that Rafi'ah showed tadi, the one that she shared the link in the chat. Rafi'ah, do you mind copying balik and then letak balik dalam chat? Takut ni. Alright. Apa tu? People can start reading, and then I want you to reflect, yeah, based on what you know of your field. Yeah. So katakanlah, I know there's some people here from language, for instance. You know, how do you contribute towards the logjam? What are the things that you know you can put forth, yeah, as an innovation to this? Perhaps it would not be looking at grammar punya issues, but rather to look at what are the ways that the local people use to describe, yeah, the problems that they are facing. And I'm sure the logjams are not just one-time deal. It occurs quite frequently. Jadi, you know, as an investigator, as a researcher, you want to find out how do people talk about this, you know, and what are the associations that they make in terms of semantics, you know, to relate to the problem, yeah, and what are the maybe terminology memang spesifik kepada logjam yang memang ada dekat, you know, certain committees, for instance. Maybe ada, maybe tak ada. Find out. Yeah, and how does this contribute towards the solution? Maybe talk to one of our friends from you know, computer science, and see macam mana you know, they can do sensors, for instance, you know, where can the sensors be placed, you know. So these are some of the things that, you know, where we said interdisciplinary knowledge is quite important to solve this problem. We cannot just leave everything to, like, you know, Cindy and Rafi'ah and Shafiq to solve. Yeah, sebab mungkin there are things yang mereka tak nampak sebab because from their discipline dia nampak kepada, you know, what they are good at. Yeah, jadi tapi bila ada interaction, then we can understand perhaps all the different ways as to how we can explore the possible solution. So the how may we, the one that you see here, the green the three boxes ni lah, ya. These are scenarios sahaja. So you can pick either, you know, mana-mana, it still goes to the same thing. Jadi you start with empathy dulu, talk to each other dalam the breakout room. Maybe have a copy of this so that you have a way to focus the discussion, yeah. And then from there, then you start thinking about the ideation process. Yeah, what are the things that people actually would be able to need to in order to survive the logjams. Jadi bring that forth, discuss it, yeah, argue it, yeah, jangan just terima whenever people cakap, argue it, and then yeah, and try to convince each other which ones are the best. Yeah, so from here we hope that you'll be able to pitch it later. Yeah, there are two more boxes yang kita akan buat selepas ni. So don't throw away any of your ideas. Yeah, so letak your post-it notes within the box that you are assigned to. So if you are going into Kampung A, then put all your post-it notes in there because we're going to use that in the next phase of this iteration. Does that make sense, guys?
Yes, Dr. Fitri.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
They're all in the mural now.
I hope so. 2019, I think. 19 people.
All right.
Ramai lagi belum masuk ni. Try have a go.
I think
That mural?
somebody, Sue and Rosita, they had problem the last time, but hopefully they
Yeah.
managed.
Yes. Uh-huh.
Ah, you're in. Yes, Waila.
Hi, Suhaila.
Sorry, I just finished my meeting and join this one. Sorry.
No, no worries.
Alamak, Azani, you can't get in eh? If you can't get in using your UNIMAS one, try the Gmail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. Okay, I try again after this.
Yeah.
If not, yeah, teruskan jap.
Okay.
For those of you who cannot, you might want to type in the chat. I can put it in for you.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
While you're enrolling yourselves and getting used to the whiteboards, the boards in here.
And Dr. Jacey, just let us know when you need the participants to go into breakout rooms, okay?
Yeah. Sure. I think they can go into breakout rooms now, right, Fitri?
Yeah, they should be. Ada 19 orang tapi
So dalam 3 group lah kan?
Yeah,
group.
3 groups.
Alright.
What did I click? Did I say not now?
They're starting to use the board already.
Okay. I think I clicked on some stuff just now with the breakout rooms. Does it work? Yeah, Rafi, I have best to do.
Dr. Jacey, you're still in the main room.
Yeah. Okay. So the rest all in already, kah?
Ada yang sudah join. Dalam satu group tu, dia supposed to be berapa Dalam 10 orang ke?
Can't seem to see it.
Tak apa, I think we'll jump from group to group. Rafi'ah, tak apalah, kita tunggu dulu.
I think those who are here, then we can tell them lah. As well as okay, I see.
Yeah.
Azani's in there, Cindy. I'll go to room 2 first lah. Fitri, I join room 2 sekejap ah.
Yeah. Remind them to use to share the screen lah.
Okay.
So the others.
Room 1, Kampung A, room 2, Kampung B, room.
Hai Kampung A.
Halo. Nancy lah, 504244 ya.
Oh, siapa ketua kampung?
Dah tahu dah passwordnya.
Ada password dah, huh? Alright, saya share file sekejap yang mural punya screenshot tadi kan? So that you can refer to it during your discussion. Kejap Toknya.
Dr. Rafi'ah, apa are we dealing with the Kampung A issue?
Kumpulan 1 Kampung A. Pilihlah ketua kampung masing-masing I've shared the mural just now in the chat box. Ada.
Okay.
And someone share screen of the mirror, then we can see.
Okay, bye. Kami pergi kampung sebelah.
Tapi mural tu PNG kita beri oh.
Sebab yang tu hanya untuk refer aja. If you want to use the real mural, siapa yang dah log in dalam mural tadi boleh share screen-nya lah. So that you can work
It's the
on it
same one
together. Boleh share lah.
Okay.
Dancy, share screen not, Dancy? Your mural, can you share screen? Can you share?
I can share.
Hello Kampung B. Siapa ketua kampung?
Pilih ketua kampung ya. Lupa saya nama ketua kampung. Okay, I go to kampung C sekejap.
Okay.
Sekejap. Please continue your conversation.
I think it would be useful if one of you can share the screen so that you can work on the mural together. Anyone yang dah log in dalam mural tadi boleh share the screen lah. So any answers, walaupun you tak ada dalam mural, at least you can work on it sama-sama lah. Thank you, Dr. Stephanie.
Welcome. So I don't know what we can do. We are focusing on problems with erosion and pollution. So obviously, the main thing with erosion is we need a plan kan, to stabilize the soil and whatnot. And then for pollution is so the usual waste management, recycling. I don't know. You guys go right in there.
Yeah. Another useful tips is that maybe everybody can contribute according to one's specialty. For example, Dr. Shafiq, maybe he's more on the river or aquatic science, so maybe he can suggest things according to his field.
Okay. I think in this group also we have Dr. Vimala from FLC, Dr. Wee Boon Seong for the chemistry part, okay, and Dr. Stephanie from FCSIT, Cik Ahmad Didat from PPPU. Maybe you can contribute something. Thank you.
You can write it out on mural. I saw some messages, so I'm not so sure. Is it for all? It says for everyone. Wee Bun Seong, is he in here? Oh yes. Can you go in, Wee Bun Seong? Inform local authorities. Legal enforcement. How to log in? Let's see. I'll see if I can share again. I'm gonna share with you. Let's see if we can go in. If you click on the link, and then it would ask you to log in. You try to log in with UNIMAS. If you get an error, I think one of the participants had an error. It says something free trial expired. So instead of using UNIMAS, you can use your personal email and see if it works. Inform local. I'll type for you first. Inform. Okay. So someone could go in. I think you should be able to go in. And we have Smurry. Did you get to go in as well? Try to click on the link. Okay, the second one.
Guys.
Hai Kampung Si.
Haniza, I see you here.
Yes, yes.
Hi. From your point of view, kan, from your field of expertise, you know, what kind of issues that come about medical wise, yeah, because of this cutoff from, you know, basic supplies, basic needs. Can you think of that and then probably just throw the ideas in the box?
The complete, I mean, the repercussion of this logjam ka?
Correct.
The complications, that kind of thing lah.
Yes.
All right. Okay. I thought we wanted solutions since happened and get rid of corrupt politicians.
Well, if you are chief minister, you can do that.
Okay, I'll throw something in. I think I'll
Yeah.
try.
Thank you.
I'm not an expert in this. I
That's
only know.
okay. Everyone's starting.
Yeah.
Everyone's starting. Don't worry.
All right. Thank you.
Yvonne? Yvonne, you're there? Oh, mic problem. Okay, that's all right. Yvonne, try to think of what are the ways in which you can improve say interaction among the committee members. How can the communication about logjam and the repercussion effects from the logjam, bagaimana how would you mitigate that from a language expert point of view? Yeah, what are the things that can be done in order to alleviate this a little bit, so it doesn't mean that it has to necessarily contribute towards the society, the community itself, but perhaps this is something that can be done with maybe the computer scientists, bagaimana they can actually pick up information about logjams atau warning signals, I don't know, bagaimana mereka nak improve this if it happens again. Does that make sense? Kena fikir sikit lah ya. Suhaila. Suhaila, you're there? If you're not able to use the board, you can type your idea here in the chat box, and perhaps one of your friends can put it up in the box. Yeah. Gui? Gui, are you there?
Yes, I am. Yes.
Hi.
Hi.
Your expertise is
in waste management as well as construction and everything.
Okay, good. So what are the things that you think can be salvaged from this problem that would benefit the community?
Am I in group 3, right? So I'm supposed to address the things in group 3, is it?
Yes.
Sorry,
You
I'm a
have
bit
an
lost
issue?
because I'm very new to this mural. I just created my account and everything.
That's all right. That's all right.
What?
Yeah, you were lucky when we had PGDIP. You were in the class with me.
Yeah.
The batch last year had to use this. So I think Vimala is here. Vimala can tell you that we were using this in the PGDIP class.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, no choice, ma.
We were using the Minoi whiteboards, the giant whiteboards, which is a lot more
Yeah.
interactive for me.
Kan?
So macam ni je lah.
Siapa yang tak kena elaborate nanti sikit what they mean by
I forgot.
this.
Siapa buat?
Commercial ke, buat sendiri ke?
Don't self-filter. Oh my goodness.
This one, awareness campaign, how to create clean water supply. I guess this can be done by the government. Probably.
Yeah.
Government, NGOs. Oh?
NGO.
Okay.
What in NGO? Government.
Okay.
Temporary
water treatment using ginger. This one, middle part. Not community Using ginger, traditional medicine
community.
plants.
Community to community.
Okay, okay.
Oh, no, I can use ginger. Ready? You need to tell me about that.
Tak tahulah, saya main lantak je. Saya cuma tahu ginger boleh bunuh.
Oh yeah lah, microbes. Can tell the kids lah about this thing also.
Pakai garlic ke apakah. Tapi air tu masih sedap ke tak, itu lain cerita.
Letak asam jawa lah.
Beer. Minum beer.
Yes.
Ginger root beer.
Dia tak main lah Zani. Terus langkau lah.
Definitely clean.
Langkau
Tuak,
punya
tuak.
memang bersih. Tuah masih rendah percentage tu. Langkau.
Oh yeah. Moonshine.
Sorry, I just tarik siapa yang tulis tadi ya? Sorry, I just tarik. I just tarik your this one. So construct a simple water filter. Okay, this one should be under community lah. Alright.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else that you guys want to add between community and government? Is there anybody
Now,
that can?
I want to bring up something. Now we are
Okay.
assuming that the diarrhea vomiting is because of water. We're making that assumption lah.
Oh, following the
No,
pub
it's
problem.
given. It's contaminated water supply.
Oh yeah, betul.
That's I think that's a present. How about the future?
Future bawa doktor masuk.
Oh yeah, but doctor masuk. That will be under government.
Cari inland dam. Sekarang dia contaminated because of that logging problem ke apa? Actually I'm lost lah.
Yeah, logging issue.
Yeah.
Illegal logging.
They call
So
no,
itu river.
I know something. They call it perkhidmatan doktor udara.
Yes.
Perkhidmatan doktor udara. Oh yeah. They do have that, right? Tapi
Yes.
Lain doktor, no more.
But that
Lain
one
doktor.
come
Still,
certain time only, right?
Certain time.
Certain time only.
They
Tak
always
ada
fly
dah.
from
No
Cebu.
more.
Huh?
No more now. No more. No more budget.
Masih for the pedalaman one masih. Dia,
Only for the very interior lah kan.
Yes.
This is good. Train local champion for basic medical care. Okay, good.
I like the local champion one.
Yeah. So who will train? Government.
Yeah, government. Put middle part.
Okay.
They can have macam pelapis that know first aid and all that kan.
Yeah. Ulang sabit merah. I mean, they can teach in the school kan? If there are school there.
Oh yeah, good idea. Or any kind of facility there lah.
If you want to train bomoh also can.
Bukan. Bomoh. Itu apa nama
Ajarkan
lain?
dukunnya basic medical care yang modern kan?
Oh ya. Pengamal perubatan tradisional, nak bomoh, nak dukun.
This is the basic solution that we can provide lah, kan?
We do have future and local. The present we do have also. Boleh lah. Cantik sudah.
Ada lagi?
I think people are back. Okay. Did you guys get a chance to at least get to know each other?
Yeah, Dr. Fitri, I think they are not only getting to know each other, but also they enjoy their conversation very well.
That's good. Okay, now the second bit that we want you to do is for you to talk a little bit, maybe 1 or 2 persons from each kampong to talk about how you might want to come up with a solution for the issue that we have posted for each of the canvas. Can we have Kampong A first, please?
Hi, Dr. Fitri.
Hi,
I
sir.
am from Kampong A. Okay, so for our kind of like a proposed solution for this would be kind of like we divide it into the community and community plus the government and also the contribution from the government lah. But for the immediate kind of like a solution or kind of like a help that we intend to provide, well, of course, because the source of the contaminant is water supply, so of course helping them to gain a build a water filtration system, okay, to help at least like to clean up the main source of the problem, so that at least like it helps to stop the spread of the problems lah. Okay, and also getting some clean water supply if let's say the filtration system is not enough to supply the whole kampong. Okay, of course to get some supply from outside. Okay, and because it's in a rural area, and normally the community might have some of their own traditional medicine that they practice from time to time. So if let's say there's no way of getting a nearby healthcare resource, let's like medicine or to treat the diarrhea that they are facing, then maybe try to help them to prepare more of those traditional medicines that they might be using. Okay, hopefully that will help to, at least for the moment, to relieve some of the pain or the side effect from the diarrhea lah. Okay, and then wastewater treatment. Okay, so this is somewhat similar to the filtration system. Okay, okay, so in addition to that, so like treatment is more focusing on the treatment of the water supply by the community themselves, because with the assumption that they are having lack of resource and facility, okay, so they use whatever that they have, okay, built a simple filtration system from soil and sandstone and so on, and then with the incorporation of some traditional medicine, okay, that they might already be familiar with, and of course with the use of some boiling lah, to make sure that the water is clean. Okay, and this is as a whole from the community is of course to help to use traditional medicine and to build a simple filtration system to clean the water source. Okay, and if let's say in the long run, let's say of course it would be best to have support from the government. Okay, from the government side, of course, it is to gain more of those more advanced facility, of course, medical support, healthcare people to come and give some checkup or some flown in medical support from time to time. Okay, be it for emergency cases or be it for some routine treatment, so that the community are being well taken care of, aside from relying on their own traditional medicine. Okay, and of course, to provide or to gain some training facility from the government as well, so that at least with instead of just relying solely on government support of medical supply and technical support from the doctors and so on, maybe some training could be given to the local staff, local champion who might be capable of picking up some of the skills and technique in knowing some, so that at least they know some of the basic medical care technique lah, so that they can use and practice on their own in needs, when they are in needs lah. And of course, in the long run, if there's any vaccine or medicine that can be supplied to the local community by the government, that would of course be useful and helpful to solve some immediate problem lah, especially in cases where there's any emergency and so on. Okay, and awareness, of course, if let's say campaign can be done from time to time. Okay, so to increase the community's awareness regarding on the needs or requirement to gain clean water supply, okay, before consuming or utilization, then of course that will also help to curb this kind of healthcare problems lah in the long run. Okay, and of course, to give some education, okay, this is more of in a long run lah. Okay, and also providing some IoT from time to time. Let's say if maybe like if the community is well equipped with certain gadget or device, okay, simple maybe from phone, okay, maybe the ketua kampung when there's an outbreak. Okay, the ketua kampung can straight away text everyone or inform everyone saying that, okay, there's an outbreak incident happening here in the kampung, and everyone please take care. And of course, definitely it would be nice lah if doctors can be called whenever needed lah. Okay, that would be some suggestion from for Kampung A.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Brilliant, Simon. I like the fact that you guys actually thought of the whole like a total solution, yeah, for the community, which is fantastic. I want to challenge you a little bit about thinking of knowledge that maybe you don't know, which the committee has, that you can incorporate into your solutions. You know, so these are some of the things that, you know, can become a niche. It can become a value to your research. Yeah, you mentioned about people who are practicing medicine, traditional medicine in the committee. You know, what are the ways that they use to treat diarrhea? You know, and diarrhea also leads to other things as well. But you're right to point out that, you know, the water is the problem, kan? Jadi, what are the indigenous knowledge perhaps or local knowledge yang ada yang mungkin have not been tapped into yet, you know, that can be integrated into the kind of solutions that you are thinking about. Now, for the interest of time, I appreciate that all of you did quite a bit about the brainstorming. I want you to make a decision now. Yeah, we're already at 11:25, and we're supposed to finish in another half an hour. But I would like you, all the groups, can you pilih only 3 items? Yeah, 3 items, 3 sticky notes that you have from your board, and then you place it down dekat group area dekat bawah tu. Jacey, can you scroll down sikit? I've opened the group work area kat bawah tu. Can you go to mural again? Yes. So Kampung A, you only can put 3 ideas saja. Yeah, 3 sticky notes. So we're going to prioritize now. Yeah, Kampung B, the same thing. Choose and then put 3 in. And Kampung C as well. Yeah, so you can, I'll give you maybe about 3-4 minutes to sort this out. Yeah, somebody can start putting it in, and then if you don't agree, you can put it back. Tapi jangan buang, jangan delete, okay? Can you start doing it now, please? All kampungs, all 3 kampungs.
Okay, Kampong A, who is in my Kampong A? So which one should we keep? I think we have Farida, Dancy, Amelia, Azani, Simon as well. Which one should we keep?
Okay, okay.
I think for Kampung A and Farida, okay, the most critical thing is water. So go for maybe the filtration system, kah?
Yeah, for the orang kampung.
Filtration system, okay. All right. So
Yeah, I agree with that.
wastewater treatment, yeah. This one,
Wastewater treatment.
Okay, second.
Kampung B, you can start putting your sticky notes as well.
Emilia, you pointed to something but I cannot catch you. Which one? Should we take traditional medicine? Oh no, is it train local champion?
Traditional medicine.
Traditional
Kampung.
medicine, okay,
got it.
traditional medicine.
Nampaknya.
Okay, last one.
Maybe the healthcare people that
Yeah,
stand by.
healthcare. That's the last. Healthcare.
Healthcare.
The healthcare within the community. What do you call it? Ketua. That's all.
Which this one you mean standby with temporary healthcare people people for emergency
Yeah.
cases?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
Welcome.
One,
The
Kampung
basic.
B, Kampung C, one more please. Come on. Okay, great. Kampung C, one more.
It's 4 for Kampong C already. Is it too much?
4 meh? 3 only. The one you tak pakai, you put it back dekat canvas tadi.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, don't throw it out, yeah. Okay, done. Okay, excellent. Now, do you see the blue dots next to you? The blue dots? Yeah, in the boxes. Okay, pick only one blue dot and then put it next to the one that you agree with.
Each one of us?
Dot, yes. And macam tiap-tiap kampung ada 3 kan? You just choose satu. Mana satu yang paling boleh buat?
Oh, we do it on other kampongs, is it?
No, on your kampung only.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because you have different issues. Ada satu missing Jacey. Kampung B, can you re-choose another sticky note, please? Yep, thank you. Please put your votes in. If you cannot access mural, you can ask somebody else to help you. Kampung B, can you start voting? Okay, are we happy with this? So Kampung A, it seems that this is the one that you're choosing, the wastewater treatment. Yeah. Kampung B, this is the one that you're choosing, reinforcing the riverbank. And Kampung C, this one seems to have your highest vote. The first one, the first idea. Yeah, the construction of a simple water filter. Okay, so the ones that I've marked are the ones that you guys have voted. Yeah, so this is a way that you can use with your research team, in that you can get input from everyone, and then allow an opportunity for people to make decisions, yeah, about which are the things that they feel is more important than others. Jadi that helps you focus on what kind of what do you call it, direction that your proposal will be curated into. So this is one strategy that you guys can adopt while you are writing your proposals. And as I mentioned last week, when we those of you who came and joined us, writing proposals is not like jangan tunggu sampai REC advertise baru nak tulis proposal. Proposal writing is an ongoing thing. Yeah, try to at least find out about the grant a year before the call is open. Yeah, so you can assemble the correct people that you're comfortable working with, you know, dish out your ideas, and then to come up with the write up. Jadi bila sampai kepada call nanti, you are actually prepared with the proposal already. Yeah. Okay, now we have done the voting. Now I want you to go to the canvas next to that, which is kita prioritize according to the impact and effort. Kalau impact dia tinggi, you will place that same sticky note ke atas. Ya, kalau impact dia tinggi. Kalau dia perlukan banyak effort, meaning that there's a lot of things that needs to be done in order to achieve it, then it has to be on the higher end. So this is a very simple XY graphic. So can one kampung take one? So idea 1 is kampung 1, kampung A. Idea 2 is kampung B, and idea 3 is kampung C. Okay. Can you move your sticky note tadi, the one that you've already voted on, and then place it on here?
I cannot move the sticky note. Not sure why. Can somebody move the sticky note from Kampong A?
I know why. I need to unlock it.
Oh, you locked it. Okay, okay.
Yes, lock.
Because it keeps moving around.
Oh yeah.
Okay, I only unlock the one with the star. Cindy might want to move. Yeah, just move. You can copy and paste and bring it up. Yeah, just gonna.
Okay, Kampong A. I already put it. So Kampong A members.
Can I move it up?
Can. Oh, I unlocked it. Sorry. Maybe unlock. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
You're on the wrong canvas, Sarah.
Banyak canvas kan?
Yeah.
Year one. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Oh, okay. The canvas is too big. Okay.
Okay.
Kampung B.
Kampung B, Kampung C.
Dapat kah, Cindy? Technology kan?
Boleh copy paste ke, Jacey? Yep.
Is it correct to put it there?
No, atas sebelah. Move to the next canvas. Yep.
Okay, I'm helping Kampung B.
Dah kan?
Kampung B, okay. Dah. Untuk asyik nampak sikit. I need to enlarge it. Need to enlarge it. Okay, I just lock it.
We have all. Sorry. We have all three kampungs. Your issue that you have chosen as your priority. Now, you can use the dots too. Yeah, place the dots and rank to see if they have the highest impact, and kalau it correlates with dia punya effort in order to do it. So it again is about that one idea, yeah. So everyone pick out satu blue dot tu and then place it inside the graph. Can I have everyone in the kampung teams please to vote? Jangan seorang dua saja. Yeah. Every one of you can have a dot.
Sticky note, yeah. I will.
Yeah.
Kampung A.
Kalau tak cukup, ambil daripada bawah pun tak apa.
Bawah, nah. I letak atas lagi, kampung A.
You can copy and paste, right? That one kan?
Kampung C. Kampung C, I want to see some more votes, please.
Nantikan the technical person sekejap.
Sorry, Jacey.
No worries. I think I'm better in this. Got lots of stickers, kampung ABC.
Apa main atas pagar ni you all? Kampung C. Come on, make up your mind. Come on, you can do this.
Indecisive.
I know, right? Macam mana nak buat decision ni? Ha. Come on.
50-50.
Kampung A. Kampung A only 1%.
Kampung A, where are you?
Yeah, Kampung A, where are you?
Kampung Kampung B.
Kampung C ramai meh.
You can put in the chat. Nanti kita buat. Tengah lunch.
Awalnya lunch. Most of you back at the office already? Are you all in the office?
Yes.
Yes, all the time.
Perintah.
Perintah. Yalah.
Dr. Fitri, will this canvas be available, for us to access?
Yeah. You have access to it already anyway. I'm not going to delete it.
Oh, okay. And you can download it, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And this is a template, right?
It's a template. You can use it. You modify it. Yeah, modify it as you go. That's why kadang-kadang the reason why we wanted to share this with you is that we want to tell you that you don't have to reinvent the wheel, because other people who are better at facilitating, they already come up with all these tools. Jadi use it as you see fit. So this is, I think, a good way to brainstorm in a way that it has a purpose. And as you can see, you get everyone involved in it. Yeah, so then you can make a better decision. Kalau kita buat decision seorang-seorang, itu yang jadi solo PI tu. You have berderet nama dekat dalam research paper, tapi research proposal, tapi orang tak contribute. So use this, yeah. Mural, and then there's another product called Miro. Kiman use that a lot, Miro. Tapi Miro kena bayar lah, yeah.
Yeah, it has limited, I think.
Thank you, Farida.
How about this one, Dr. Fitri? Is this totally free?
Yeah, this is free.
As long as you use UNIMAS email.
Oh, okay. That's good to know.
I wanted to highlight Farida tadi. Farida, are you still here? Ke dah keluar dah? Farida is doing a lot of good work with community projects, yeah. So get to know her. She's in FSGK.
I think she has left.
Yeah. Okay. Now, obviously we have not gotten all of your votes, tapi this is an idea. At an instance, you can see already how your team members are reacting, yeah, towards the kind of effort that you need to put in. If you want your idea, your group idea tadi, the one that you guys have voted, whether it is high impact, whether it's low impact, ataupun it needs greater or less effort. So if you can hit for something which is more of a high impact tapi lower effort, mungkin that would be more sustainable for in the long run. So depending again on the context of the research problem that you are trying to address. Tapi jangan terlalu macam tunnel vision sangat lah ya. What Simon did tadi was a nice introduction of what could be a total solution. Tapi bila kita buat research proposal, sometimes we need to be prudent because we need to pilih some kind of a focus. Yeah, so use that as a main focus. Like what you've done here, this one can be your main focus, but the rest of it can actually trail behind. So the way that you strategize your research proposal, think of it in a way that how does this fit into, what are the other things that I would also like to do, yeah, for this problem. Jadi when you're seeing it, then you will be able to see like the total picture, at the macro level, and then you fit it into what needs to be done. Yeah, for our experience, for instance, we don't put everything that we want to do in one project. It can be something that we simpan, and then when the opportunity arrives, then we bid for another project or another grant. So but along the same lines. Yeah, so the total picture tu you dengan your team boleh nampak because you guys have already sort of voted on it and you know the kind of impact that you would have. Like for instance, yang second group ni, kampung B. If I can highlight what you're doing here, you say, the solution that you're choosing is high impact, tapi it also needs high effort. Yeah, that means banyak kerja on the ground that you will need to conduct, you need to implement in order to make it work. Yeah, so this is already a natural perception of your team members about the kind of work that needs to be done. So this opens up conversations. Yeah, macam if I may remind you again, iteration is very important. So bila kadang-kadang your team members pilih something which is macam kampung C, if you look at kampung C, ada some members see it as high impact, tapi ada juga some members yang kata it's low impact. So what does that tell you? Ya, mungkin ada some areas yang mungkin belum clear lagi, and that's why people are hesitant. Yeah, so within your team, you guys need to have somewhat like a similar understanding in order to get the proposal coherent. Yeah, so that it addresses the things that you wish to do in the project. So these are tools that you can use, yeah, to get people to start talking. Okay, I hope it's useful. Jacey, you want to tambah?
It's okay first, but because now we are looking at one idea, so you see, you put your sticky notes with one solutions, the proposed solutions actually, and then you rank it based on how many people actually think where it is. This is like risk lah, your risk matrix. So what you can do as well is the top 3 that you select, maybe you can put it around this as well. And then you can see where it stands, and then you can decide. Katakan FRGS, maybe you just want to get like low effort and low impact, for example. So what's the project that can be done? So it's not necessarily just one, but you can have a few, but the concept is still the same. Yeah. Okay. Down. Sorry.
Next canvas, Jacey, on the other side. I've already opened. Okay. Okay, these are, I'm closing now, yeah. So we have another 10 more minutes. As you can see here, some more ways as to how you can talk about the specific things that you want to do within that project. Like you can get people to think of, what are the pathway for you to execute your idea tadi, the ones that you've already voted. So you can actually go back to the first canvas, the one that you brainstorm, and to look back here. So you can pecahkan, you can macam bahagikan, macam for instance, if you're looking at the technology solution, how would you start doing it? You want to talk about, say, the social science solution, how would you begin it? So is there any ways, bila dah semua dah terang, then you start talking about like okay, if we want to gabung this thing, how we want to put it together, yeah, macam Gui understands construction, yeah, but maybe Sarah doesn't know anything about construction. So how can you work together, you know, and how would you complement what you know of the steps in within developing a construction sort of project. And Sarah can come in and say, okay, now I understand about IoT. I think this can be done. What are the information that you need in order for you to use sensors, for instance, for the construction punya purpose. So when you break it down, then perhaps other people can actually come in and chip in and to say, okay, maybe we can do it this way. Yeah. So as you can see, what we're trying to show you here is really to make your ideas visible. Yeah, to make your ideas visible, and that every member in your team counts. Every member in your team counts. So like what I mentioned last week as well, bring something to the table. Do not come to a research group, you tak ada apa-apa. Yeah, bring something to the table so that you can contribute to the discussion. So it doesn't mean that macam project leader saja yang buat decision semua, tidak. Yeah, so it's a collective decision to ensure that, you know, everybody is contributing towards this. Yeah, so and the rest of the board, as you can see, I've already made it visible, so you can see you know, how you can how you can make sure that your process is agreed, yeah, before you actually go on and conduct the study itself, the research itself. So research writing, proposal writing takes a long time, and you need to pick and choose team yang boleh bekerjasama with you. Yeah, but my general advice to everybody is that bring something to the table. Yeah, you must have something that can be discussed and it can be stretched, yeah, in a way that it will be beneficial for the value of your research. So yeah, Jacey?
And that's the DT.
That's DT.
Yeah, that's the design thinking. And where the playfulness comes in, I think some of you have commented, oh, I have to move the sticky notes. Yeah, have that sort of interaction, actually have conversation as well. I think certain groups have that conversations, and then the use of colors that makes it interesting, and simplicity. I think anything that is playful is quite simple. That's why Fitri loves this template, and I find it, when she shared it with me, it was not difficult. I don't need to open a textbook to actually understand it. Is extremely easy. So that's the playful element. Okay. Yeah. So this, some of you who have linked to this, you can actually download. I move my mouse here, so you can download it. It goes to your email, and then you can keep it as a PDF copy of what you have discussed, or a reminder of the discussions. And yeah, hopefully you find this beneficial. That's design sprint lah. There are many names, so Fitri and I, we tend to interchange. I like to use DT, design thinking. Fitri sometimes would call it sprint. Yeah, but otherwise the process, the way we break it down may be different, but the concept remains the same. Yeah, so that's it from me.
Okay, thank you so much, Associate Professor Dr. Jacey, and also Associate Professor Dr. Fitri, for sharing a very interesting and also very beneficial to all the participants. So far, we can open up for some feedback from the participants, or any question from the participants.
Dr. Fitri, as for this template, if I want to use this template for teaching my students during classroom for teaching purpose, how do I do it? I just can I copy the template, or
memang ada template, memang ada kat dalam mural.
Ada dalam tu
ada dalam tu. So just open a new document and then you just choose the template that you want to use. This one is called decision sprint.
Decision sprint.
Ada banyak lagi, Rafiq. You just explore sikit lah, make time to go through the templates and choose the ones that you're comfortable with. Jadi always start dengan yang empathy punya proses tadi lah dulu, and then baru masuk kepada yang kami tunjuk tadi, which is the HMW. So the one that I showed you last week, the board. Remember the board?
Yes. I actually downloaded it.
So the board is actually quite useful because that pushes people to think about what is obvious first, and then lepas tu then you can start talking about what is not obvious, which is also a problem. So those are the things yang kita boleh use to initiate discussion. So again, going back to why all this is actually communication skills. So in order for us to get good value research proposals, we need to have these conversations going. So before we leave, we actually prepared a wakelet for all the materials that we use to read. You have a copy of all our slides as well. You can use it if you want to run your own workshop pun, you can easily do it yourself. Tak perlu lagi cari saya dengan Jacey. And then also the reading materials on what are SDGs, how do you use them for your research and stuff like that. So there are there's a selected reading materials yang kami prepare lah yang untuk you all. So when you have time, just go ahead and use them. So yeah.
Thank you so much, Dr. Fitri, Dr. Jacey. Banyak saya belajar. Actually, both from the last week bengkel and also this week. I find these tools are really amazing to help us to think and also articulate what we are thinking. Thank you so much.
Yes. Thank you. You can use it for classes. I think last year when we did it, when we heard about it the first time, we straight away dive into it and used it, isn't it, Fitri? Yeah.
This is all Chua Kiman punya fault lah.
Yeah. And that time tak ada template lagi, we created our own.
Yeah.
Sekarang ada template, so it's a lot easier and a lot nicer.
True.
Yeah.
Any other feedback from the participants? I think just now.
Yeah, coming from where I was, I just hope that all these tools, government, officers really utilize it. It has been so amazing, and to learn about all these things, it really helps a lot in the decision-making process to get a clearer pictures and everything, not just for academic purpose, but even in corporate purposes, CEOs, business purposes. It is very, very useful, all these kind of tools. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Unchen. Any other feedback from the participants? So to all the participants, Dr. Rafiq also has been sharing the link to all our training materials on the chat box. So if you need any of these materials, please use the link on the chat box. Okay. So I think it's already 12 noon. Before we end our session, maybe we can have we can open the video and have a screenshot before we end our session. Boleh kita ambil gambar dulu? Okay. Please, I would like to
Baik, Dr. Syafiq ingat. Kalau saya sentiasa tak ingat.
Alright, last week we forgot to take a photo from all the participants. Okay. Azrina, are you there, Azrina? Ada tak?
I don't think so. It's in another.
Okay.
Ambil pada awal.
Okay. Dr. Rafiq boleh tolong ambil gambar?
Boleh, sure.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Rafiq.
Okay, we only have 2 pages. So if everyone's ready, smile. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, kejap All right. Now for page 2, smile. 1, 2, 3. All right. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Dr. Rafiqah. So I would like to take this opportunity to thank all of our participants for joining us for today's session. And thank you to both of our speakers, Dr. Fitri and also Dr. Jacey. I hope we can meet again in other sessions later. Okay, thank you everyone. Please take care and stay safe. Bye.
Thank you, Dr.
Thank
Shafiq.
you.
Thank you, Dr. Fitri.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Everyone. Yeah. Bye.
Bye.